Speaker Johnson, Speaker Emerita Pelosi, it's great to see you back in the chamber.
Wow. I don't know. It might be good for him to see her back. They might be friends or something. But as a citizen of the United States, as a voter, as a former member, a recently parted member of the Democratic Party, that's not a good look. That ain't nothing that makes my spirit soar. I don't know about that one.
Whip Clark, Chairman Aguilar, thank you for your kind and generous words of nomination. To my colleagues in government, new members of Congress, families, friends, all those assembled. It's a high honor and a distinct privilege to welcome you to the People's House and the 119th Congress. The Bible teaches us in Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, 1st verse, that for everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. It's fair to say that in a democracy, there's a time to campaign and a time to govern. The election is over. This is a new Congress. The American people need us as their elected representatives in this season to put down our partisan swords and pick up bipartisan plowshares.
That's how it sounds when you lose an election. You want to be friends. You want to govern together. You want the Republicans to work with you. Why should they? They have a super majority. There's no reason for them to sit down and negotiate anything with the Democrats. The Democrats have had the last 4 years of being in the White House with small majority in the House. But you know what? They didn't do anything to reach out. They didn't use that slim majority to show, hey, you know what? We need to get with these Republicans and work with it. It's just too evenly divided not to work together. But if it takes for you to lose to realize that you need to be working together, we got a problem.
Time for us to come together, not as Democrats or Republicans, but as Americans, to get.
He's so. It just seemed like he's playing around. Huh? Is he serious, honestly, or is he just joking around up there? Because it doesn't seem like he's serious to me. I can't believe that he's the minority leader. I can't even believe that. This dude here.
Get things done for the people. In that spirit, House Democrats will work hard to find bipartisan common ground with our Republican colleagues in the incoming administration on any issue, whenever and wherever possible, in order to make life better for everyday Americans. For far too long in this country, the cost of living has gone up, but the size of the middle class has come down. Housing costs are too high. Grocery costs are too high. Child care costs are too high. Insurance costs are too high. Utility costs are too high. America.
Yeah, all these costs are so high. And for the last 4 years, his party has been in office. And all they have to do is explain to us what they've done to close this gap of too high from incomes and where the incomes are in this country and the amount of money people are making. Let's look at it logically. How can a party who claims to be for unions, who pulls for union workers and union strength and everyone to get a union job for a union scale wage, but then on the other hand, they're opening up the border for immigrants to flood the country for low wages. Where how can a union hotel worker do anything when they're being undercut by illegal immigrants coming in, and there's loopholes all over the place where they can come in and work. And then when there are crackdowns or people taken out of workplaces, the Democrats are crying they're taking away our neighbors. They're taking away our community. They're taking away our friends. Well, if our communities and our friends consist of a bunch of illegal immigrants, America really does have a problem. But we need people to be here as legal citizens so that being a member of a union has a benefit. Because there's no benefit to being a part of a union when part of the leverage on the company side is hire illegal immigrants. Hire people who are willing to not be union, who are willing to take a lower wage. So we're never going to win with the Democratic Party, who's for two things and they both oppose each other. That doesn't make sense. There's no way to put unions and illegal immigrants in the same sentence and make any sense out of it.
Is too expensive. There are far too many people in this great country who for decades have been struggling to live paycheck to paycheck. That is not acceptable in the wealthiest country in the history of the world.
We need to make sure when the country has its financial dips, and it does, when companies go into really bad financial situations, banks, financial institutions, corporations, in various industries, when this stuff happens and they run to the government and they're bailed out with these huge loans, the government is broke. The government doesn't have any money. The government gets its money from its people in the form of our taxes. So if you're going to take our taxes and bail these companies out, and then these companies come back and hit us over the head with clubs and sticks and treat us like modern day slaves, it's just something ain't right there. That means that our representation ain't representing us. Everybody needs to go back to basics. We too fancy in this country. Everybody want to argue over who know this and who know. It's basics. Look at your life. Look at the life around you. Look at the life in the communities that we walk through each day. You go to some 7-Elevens, AM/PMs, just to go in and grab a pack of gum or a bag of chips or a few bucks in gas, and you got homeless people and people milling around, and you don't know if they're what's going on. Nobody wants to see this. If there's a remedy, we need to figure it out. But Biden's administration knowingly allowed illegal immigrants in the country, knowing they would have to house them, knowing they would have to feed them, knowing they would have to assist them, and it would cost a lot of money, instead of taking that same exact money that's already here and trying to figure this homeless situation out. It is ridiculous. And Hakeem Jeffries wants to talk about all these things that are wrong. And out of the last 3 administrations, Obama, Trump won, and then Biden. That's 12 years of Democrat. Come on, guys. We gotta wake up. What's going on? And Hakeem Jeffries sounds like a lot of his speech, the excerpt, some of it. It sounds like it's coming from Kamala. Like he's taking, excerpts from Kamala's speech. That's just what it sounds like he's saying. Little things that she would say. But let's let him go on, because I think he's just getting warmed up.
To build an affordable economy for hard-working American taxpayers, and we need to build it now. It's time for us.
Not 4 years ago. Now. Now is the time to get down to business. Now it's time to resist and fight and talk shit, because now there's a opposing party president. Flip a coin. You got a 50-50 chance of it being heads or tails. Flip a coin. That's how the American political system is set up. I don't care how bad you get beat in an election. Flip a coin. You can come back in 4 years. You can come back. It was a time they had us all believing around 2008 to 2010 2010, 2011, that the Republican Party was done. That they were in such disarray. It might take decades for them to rebuild. And Donald Trump walks in the door and starts a movement that's like shit we ain't never seen before. And we got this guy up here sounding exactly like the same Hakeem Jeffries that we were listening to prior to this election that the Democrats lost. Same stuff. And it's terrible. It's terrible that we have to put up with this. This is an elected official.
To come together and finally lower the high cost of living in the United States of America once and for all. And we will work with anyone of any party to get.
We will work with anyone of any party. There's only one other goddamn party. What is he talking about? He's trying to make it sound like we got some, like 9 different parties he's got to worry about. We know what's up of any party. And the thing is, you will now because you lost. But when you guys thought y'all was rolling and Kamala might be our next president, you guys wasn't talking like that. And now we need to see action behind it. But not really. What am I talking about? If Trump can do what I think he's about to do and get the cooperation, and they gave us a small signal of that by reelecting Speaker Johnson. There was a lot of people giving interviews yesterday talking about, oh, I don't know this, and I don't. Somebody called him and said, oh, well, I'm gonna tell you this: we'll primary your ass. You'll be looking for a new job. Because I heard some folks talking crazy yesterday about voting for Speaker Johnson. And I was like, ooh. And they were like, well, all they can lose is 1 vote, actually. Maybe 2, but 1 vote. And I was like, oh, wow. And I was just kind of, with hearing this, kind of under the impression, hey, Speaker Johnson's ass might be on the line. He might be done. Then when he won, and I heard that Trump had been making phone calls and hollering at some folks behind the scenes, y'all in trouble with Trump. This dude is doing what y'all didn't think he'd do. I know a lot of people already thought Johnson would have lost that. I did. But because he didn't, we have to look at this shit for what it is. That's Trump right there. All the time that made sure that they got in lockstep and made that shit happen. And it did. And now we got to wonder, when they get in lockstep again, what's going to happen? Look at the Supreme Court. That's an effective and strategic move on the Republicans' part. Mitch McConnell got what he needed done out of Donald Trump, whatever he did to figure a way out to work with him. Because I don't call them friends. I never thought they were allies in any way. But Mitch McConnell made sure that he figured out a way to work with Donald Trump to get the shit done he needed to get done. And the Democrats, it's never going to happen. Because they are still married to the old Republican Party. And they expect the old Republican Party to help bail them out. And Liz Cheney is going to be made an example of.
Get that done. We will work with anyone to secure our borders, and we will work with anyone to fix our broken immigration system in a comprehensive and bipartisan manner. At the same period of time, we will push back against far-right extremism whenever necessary.
Now let's think about that for a minute. We will push back against far-right extremism. We will push back against far-right extremism whenever necessary. When is it not necessary? If there is far-right extremism, it needs to be pushed back against. If you're talking in a real sense and not that bullshit political sense. Because they say far left extreme. Far left means being for black people getting reparations. You know what I'm saying? I'm on that part of the Democratic Party. So that's the far left wing. So when they talk about the far left wing of the Democratic Party, they talk about it in a bad way, like they would like to see that part of the wing severed. You know what I'm saying? And on the right, they're talking about the white supremacists when you hear about the far right side of the party and all of that, as far as being extremists. So we are extremists for wanting fairness and equality, and these folks on the far side over there, they're saying are extremists because they want us dead. I don't know. It don't make a whole lot of sense, but for some reason there has become a level of being a right-wing extremist that's acceptable. He just said it. He just said, I mean, you know what I'm saying? They just cool with it. As long as it don't go too far. It's kind of how I take it. I don't know. It's not like, you know, you can do, but don't go too far with it. Or we'll have to meet it and, you know, and put an end to it. But as long as you don't go too far.
So let me be clear. Social Security and Medicare are not entitlement programs. They are earned benefits. Hardworking American taxpayers pay in to Social Security and Medicare every day, every week, every month, every year throughout their entire adult life. They've earned those benefits, worked hard for those benefits, and deserve those benefits. So as Democrats, our promise to the American people is that we will fight hard to make sure that no one in this town takes away Social Security or Medicare from the American people.
Don't you hate that shit? I mean, what he's basically talking to in that sense is the very, very, very poor. If you retire and you can supplement your retirement, if you had a job that set you up with some kind of a 401k, or if you were a public employee. Oh no, the public employees I don't think can qualify for the Social Security. I think they're about to change that too, though. I got to look into that. But I mean, just think about it. You could supplement your retirement with Social Security, but in some cases, that's it. That's all people have is Social Security. That's it. They don't have another income, and it's like, damn. If they didn't buy their house 30 or 40 years ago, they probably couldn't even afford the mortgage on it, and hopefully they didn't take out any loans. I mean, you can't live like that. And he's talking to the very, very poor, because some people could lose their Social Security and still survive. Their lives won't change that much. That might be little gravy on top of the potatoes for them. But some people, that might be the potatoes. That's all they got. And he's up here trying to make it sound like only Democrats are on Social Security. They're not. It's Republicans on Social Security too. They rely on it just as much as we do. Democrats. I always say we because I used to be one so recently. It's I don't have fond memories either of that shit. And we'll go over that as the episodes unfold. But I don't have fond memories of my time as a Democrat at all. And especially when Hakeem Jeffries jumped on the scene. I started to pay attention to this guy because he's a young black guy. And as a black man, I like to pay attention to black dudes who get involved in politics and really find out where they going and where they coming from with this stuff. And being out of Brooklyn and all of that, he got everything that you would think you would look for in a black candidate. And he's elevated himself up to the... the minority leader. That's how disarmed we are as black people. They don't care how high they push us individually, because it's a loyalty in that man that the masses don't have. That's why he's in that spot. He ain't going to act inappropriately by the standards that he knows he has to follow. He knows. And we are just sitting here, unfortunately, supporting him, and we gotta stop. It's so hard to not support him when he look like you. You look in the mirror, you're like, God damn, he's a black man. That's something that we're gonna have to reprogram or something, because it hasn't helped us. They pick the black leaders for us. They pick the black representatives for us. And if we pick them, then they put them through boot camp. And when we see them again, they're not the same person we sent them. They're just not. But I just don't look at him as a very honest dude. He don't look like the kind of cat who isn't rehearsed. He looked very rehearsed, and he looked very regimented on what he's trying to get across, and I ain't buying it.
Not now, not ever, no means never.
I mean, real quick, guys, if they took Social Security away in the United States, just stop the checks. If I could just end them, people would be out in the streets, homeless and fighting. There would be all kind of shit going on that would be so disruptive to everyday life in America. They'd figure it out. It is not something that just popped on the scene. It is something that people for decades know about, received, benefited from, and they're not going to just pull that away and think it's going to work like that. So Democrats and Republicans would both be out in the street causing just havoc, and it would be crazy. But the way the Democrats talk about it is because they're talking about more Democratic poor people who might still vote Democratic and consider themselves Democrats and solely rely on that, as opposed to some Republicans who might solely rely on it too, but some Republicans may be a little better off financially. And these are the things that the stereotypical Republican and the stereotypical Democrat that keep us in this cycle. Because we believe the Republicans got money. Oh, they got money. Oh, they good. They rich. And Democrats, not so much. Or they black. You know, we got to get beyond that. And we got to get beyond guys like him, or we never will.
Our position is that it is not acceptable to cut Social Security, cut Medicare, cut Medicaid, cut veterans' benefits, or cut nutritional assistance from children and families in order to pay for massive tax breaks for billionaires and wealthy corporations. House Democrats will fight hard to protect working class Americans and the things that matter to them, not the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected. Keep your hands off Social Security and Medicare. Over the last 4 years, it's been a great honor for us to work alongside President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, whose administration rescued the economy from a once-in-a-century pandemic, delivered historic infrastructure investments, created more than 15 million good-paying jobs.
He just admitted to the pandemic, and then he's talking about creating jobs. Those are jobs that just came back. There were millions of jobs lost. The pandemic was mismanaged by the country as a whole, from the beginning to the end. I think that each decision and most of the major things they did in the course of managing that pandemic were bad decisions and could have been thought out better, but you know, based on who was in office at the particular time, Trump for the first half, Biden for the second half, we wasn't ready, y'all. We wasn't ready.
Enacted common sense gun safety legislation for the first time in 30 years, provided life-sustaining health insurance to veterans suffering from toxic exposure.
You know, that's another one there. Democrats just talk about anything. He don't care. He just saying some shit. If you're a veteran and you know about the toxic burn pits and all that shit, and the guys who qualify hopefully and can get paid for the injuries, but it ain't like they just laying out the carpet and trying to help veterans. You guys know about the New Orleans dude military. The dude in Vegas, military. It's mental. It's probably people you could walk by on the street and they don't have a limp. They ain't missing an arm. It's mental. Those are the ones that the military seems to miss. They fall through the cracks. And the unfortunate side of that is other Americans have to die because somebody got put in a situation that harmed them mentally. And coming back to this country and whatever it is that person received, if anything, it wasn't enough.
Champion the largest investment in combating the climate crisis in the history of the world, which we will defend, and brought down the high price of life-saving prescription drugs for millions of Americans. Thank you, President Biden and Vice President Harris, for your powerful, principled, and purposeful public service.
Does that include the border? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Is he just encapsulating everything they did that was just so wonderfully great? Because the border is never, ever, ever going to be mentioned without Biden and Kamala Harris's name coming up. Either you're comparing it how good it's going to be in the future to how bad it was with them, or how bad it was with them and it got even worse. But what they done is a mark that we all need to make note of and measure that border on that. And the administrations that house that White House. We need to know, what is your plan? And it better be better than that one. But we got something to go on, something that's unfortunately painful. Because we don't only have to deal with the fact that they've come in and we've already absorbed these people into the country illegally. But now we might have to pay more money and get them back out. That's a heck of a damn thing. You know, like, what did Biden think? Once they're in, they're in. Because that's the mentality that the immigrants coming over seem to have. All we got to do is get in. All we got to do is get in. You get in and you're good. It's like, wow. Because we accommodate that. We accept that in our communities, our sanctuary cities. There should be no sanctuary for illegal immigrants in this country. Because there's no sanctuary for black people. Until we get one, they should now one. That's just only fair.
Thank you. Two months ago, the American people elected Donald Trump as the 47th President of the United States of America. Thank you for that very generous applause. It's okay. There are no election deniers on our side of the aisle. You see, one should love America. One should love America when you win and when you lose. That's the patriotic thing to do. And that's the America that House Democrats will fight hard to preserve, because we love this country. America is bigger than any one campaign, any one election, or any one individual. America, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Let us never forget that our country is free, not simply because we are strong. America is strong because we are free. That freedom is now under assault. There are some in this country who apparently believe that the freedom of economic opportunity that made them wealthy should not apply to everyone else. Our message to that crowd is simple. Democrats will never abandon the long walk toward freedom. We will fight hard to defend the freedom of opportunity that makes the American dream possible. We will fight hard for the freedom to vote, and to fight for a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We will fight for the freedom to organize and join a union of your choice. We will fight to defend the free enterprise system, but work hard to make sure that it actually works for working class Americans. And we will always defend a woman's freedom to make her own reproductive health care decisions. America promises one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's the America House Democrats will fight hard to preserve. God bless you. God bless the House of Representatives. May God continue to bless the United States of America.
I'm going to tell you, that man right there is delusional. He could have been at any one of Kamala Harris's campaign speeches and said exactly what he just said on that mic, because that's all she was saying. And he must like losing, because that's exactly what she got. What is going on with the Democratic Party? And above all, and I would be remiss if I didn't address this, why is a Democratic minority leader, not who's black, a black African American man, not speaking on anything black? They've gotten so good at being wordsmiths. They take little moments and opportunities to in a sentence say voting right. That's us. Fuck that. The voting rights ain't gotten us nowhere. We really haven't. We need something different. We need somebody in there who's gonna work with us. We need to do something to crack that Senate. That Senate is the last line of what they got. If we could crack that Senate, we could change things. We can make things happen that aren't happening, that they are preventing from happening. That Senate is so, man, it's strong. And no matter who the president is, that Senate is the Senate. So what if the Democrats control it or the Republicans control it? Let's not get fooled into believing that their votes are very different. There are some conservative guys up there. And if you check their ancestry, you'd understand why. I mean, it's not like they're up there by accident, okay? If you could even look into the histories, and not just who their dad or grandparent, but the real history of their families and their wealth and their lives in this country, the good and the bad. And if it was bad, how'd they get out of that trouble, or how'd they get into that trouble? The Senate is it need to be cracked. We need to do something about that. I think right now Tim Scott is the longest serving African American male in the Senate. And when you think about that, I just let you know that the Democrats don't trust very many of their African American males, or maybe the electorate don't. But why in the world we haven't gotten in there and with a black person who's going to actually speak for us? I mean, I brought Tim Scott up. Obviously, he's a Republican, but he is there. And he feels that his ideas and beliefs for black people are beneficial to black people. You don't have a whole lot of black people who agree with him, obviously. But what else do we have? Who do we have? We need to get some people who can get in the Senate and stay as long as Tim Scott, but be black. Like for real black. And 100%, and down for your folks, where when you get a mic turned on in front of you, you say black shit. You say things that they know what you're talking about, clearly and directly, and not by talking about, I want to talk about black people, so I'm going to mention voting. I'm going to mention being poor. No. Mention it directly. Say those words. Don't talk about classes and things that we're a part of. Talk about us directly and how these things affect us, but talk about us directly. And shame on you, Mr. I'm about to call him Cory Booker, because that's my other one. Those guys, man, I tell you, shame on you, Hakeem Jeffries, for not representing us properly, Democrats or black people. You know what I'm saying? That's a horrible thing. And anybody anybody who used to be a Democrat, you can't. You engage. You want to find out what is going on. Why can't everybody see this for what it is, really, and leave them empty? Leave them like they left us, empty with nothing to show for it. Election after election after election. Bill Clinton up there having affairs in the White House and signing all kind of legislation that's detrimental to us. I'm telling you, it's really horrible when you think about the conduct of these people. And then they want to swing baseball bats at black people for breaking the law because they can't find a job. Because the percentage and the amount of us who graduate high school, we've fighting and struggling over high school graduation rates when we need to be talking about entrance exams and college educations and, just better opportunities and more of them. And they have to be pinpoint direct for black people, because if they're not, somebody else is going to swoop in and take it away from us. Everything that is for poor people, we don't benefit from, because there's more other people in this country, and you guys are bringing in, as if it wasn't enough poor folks, you just brought in another, depending on who you speak to, 8, 9, 10, 11 million. Somebody knows though, but y'all don't want to let them numbers out. Oh yeah, and just so you guys know, I'm dissatisfied with Speaker Hakeem Jeffries. I'm paying attention to everything that he does, just so that I can have a better understanding of this man. If I see anything out of him that says different than what I've been seeing since I first encountered this person, I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna bring it real, 100%, because I would like to see something nice about. I wish something positive would pop out of him. I wish somebody in that damn Senate or Congress somewhere would stand up and start advocating for black people the way they're supposed to be. Get rid of the old people. I think when we were looking over this, saw Maxine Waters on the front row. It's just beyond ridiculous. It makes no sense. These people have no place leading us anywhere. And as a representative, you're our leader. And I'm sorry, I think I'm too old to be leading this shit, and I know damn well they are. They like my grandparents' age, so we got to get them out of there. Like, comment, share, subscribe. If you're watching this video and you ever watched one of my videos before, you owe me a subscription. Subscribe, folks. See you on the next one.